tell us what President-elect Trump is like, and I want to hear a funny story of you on the campaign trail, or something that tops this Obama story, because Donald is not going to be happy if the story does not top the Obama story.
Oh, shoot. All right. Well, I don't know if they top. I mean, we got 4 years to make some cool
No,
stories,
but you campaign with President-elect Trump. Really likes you a lot. Tell us about him.
Okay, so here's I'll tell you there's a couple, but I'll tell you one. So, Trump's on television, and I'm kind of like it. I'm watching, I'm like, man, I like this guy. You know, I kind of like what he, you know, and everybody's kind of dogging, like, he's a reality TV star. And I'm like, well, crap, so am I, you know, so what? You try to make a show and have that many viewers. So I'm really, I'm like, man, I like this guy. We need to shake it up. I want the whole system to change. I'm sick of both parties, you know, and so I was kind of on this rant. My wife wasn't quite sure at the time, and so we're getting closer. My son is speaking in Oklahoma City. He's doing a little thing, and we were hunting. I was elk hunting in Colorado. I had a friend who has a plane, not Trump, another friend. And I said, hey, let's stop by. You want to see my son speak in Oklahoma City? He said, no problem. So we stopped in Oklahoma City. We hear my son speak. We're at the lunch that they provided at this thing, and one of the guys said, hey, did you hear who's in town? I said, who? He said, Trump. He's doing the Oklahoma State Fair. I was like, are you kidding? I said, dude, we're going. And he was like, you want to go? I said, it's his plan. I said, you want to stay and go? And I said, I'll text Trump Jr. because I was friends with him. I said, maybe we can go see him. At the time, I really just wanted to, I wasn't sure if he'd win it. This was summer before last, but I thought, one of these days, I want to go and see what this was all about. You know, if he's never, just, you know, you saw these rallies on these people. So I said, let's go check it out. So I got a hold of them. They said, okay, meet them there. Trump Jr. wasn't there. There'll be an RV, and then you can hang out. And actually, I'll tell you the whole story. I haven't told all this story. So we go to the RV. So I thought, I need a police officer because I don't mean to be a big time here, but I may be more recognizable than Trump at Oklahoma State Fair. So I asked, I got a police officer to carry me in there. So we're in the police car. We go in the RV. There's a bunch of people in the RV. There's like the people who provide the RV. There's like a few people. Trump's not there. So I was like, hey guys, how you doing? So I'm meeting these people, and one guy in particular asked for a photo. It just seemed weird. I'll take a lot of pictures of this. So this guy comes up and he goes, hey, can I get a picture? And I was like, sure. And he had the earpiece. Okay, so I thought he was a security guy. But he had on what looked like khaki shorts and a fishing shirt. And I thought, okay, weird security outfit. And I said, I said, what do you do? He said, I just kind of take care of stuff. I was like, and I don't know how they roll. So, and the guy, right before he takes a picture, he says, hey, you want to hold my gun while we take the picture? I'm like, what kind of security guy? I said, nah. I said, I'm good. I don't need to hold your gun. So I take the picture, and I'm like, that's a weird dude. So Trump shows up, all right? Dude gets on the bus. If you're not with Willie, get off the bus. So all these people that provided all this stuff, he kicks them all off the bus. Trump walks in. He's just like he is. So he comes swaggering on the bus. He's like, Willie! What about this crowd? It's you. He said, even for you, it's you. That's a huge crowd. He's doing his hair, and he's looking out the window. He's like, look at this crowd. I'm like, I know, that's awesome. And then my buddy was like, can you believe we're on this bus? So we're up there at the front. I'm talking to his other staff. I look in the back of the bus. That weird dude has got a book, and he's talking to Trump. And I'm like, I thought he was a security guy. And Trump, he's got Trump's book, and Trump's a powerful guy. Trump does this. Then that dude goes in the bathroom and closes the door. You know that big bald-headed dude that Trump's security guy? He gets on the bus. Where's the dude at? They tear the door down. Grabs that guy, hauls him off the bus. All right? And I looked up, and everybody was like, what just happened? And I looked up and I went, what kind of operation are y'all running around? And they said, who was the guy? Remember, I had the police officer with me. So they found out, it wasn't until the next week we found out, That guy delivered the porta-johns to the fair. He wanted Trump to sign his book, so he asked a guy, could he do anything else to help? They gave him the earpiece, and yeah. So he was running for the guy run the fair, got on the bus, posed as a security guy, got his picture and book signed with Trump, got thrown off, and the police officer said, Willie, you were a bonus. So
go on.
So the guy gets out of the bus. Trump goes, all right, I'm ready to give a speech. He said, Willie, did you want to say anything? I said, no, Mr. Trump. Now I wanted to lay low. I really was wanting to lay. I just wanted to see it, hear it, but I didn't want to be all like. I said, no, Mr. Trump, I'm good. He said, okay. So now a regular politician would have gotten up first and said, Willie Robertson's here, and done the deal. So I kind of, Mr. Trump goes out, so I kind of slink out there, and I'm in the well of the stairs. It's an outside fair, right? And I'm like this. I'm trying to hide. And a few people were yelling at me, but I was just watching. Trump gets up, he starts talking to dude. And he's like, China. We're laughing. I'm like, this is so awesome. So he's just talking. 30 minutes into the speech, he's still talking. And he just stops. He looks at me and goes, where's Willie? And I'm like this. And I'm like, oh my God, is there another Willie? And I'm like, he goes, where is Willie? And everybody's looking around like, who's Willie? And my buddy said, bro, he wants you up there. And I'm like, oh boy. So I go up on stage, and everybody's like, oh, Willie Robertson. I'm like, hey, how you doing? So my assistant has shown me this 50 times. I shake his hand like that. I'm like, good to see you guys. I go like this, and you see me go. He just pulls it right there. I'm like, oh, shit. He says, wait a minute. He's got a microphone. There's 50,000. He says, I got a question for Willie. And I'm like, oh, no. I was like, well, when you play with a rattlesnake, yes, that's what happens to you. Right on stage. I don't know what the question's going to be. Remember, these are his fans, not mine. This is his show. He goes, I got a question for Willie. Do you love Trump? And just gives me the mic. Oh, no. What do I say? I don't know what to say. So I lean out. I was like, yeah, I like me some Trump. He likes me some Trump. I was like, yeah. And I said, I'll tell you about me and Mr. Trump. We both have had successful businesses. We both had successful TV shows, and we both married people that look way better than we do. Thank you, Oklahoma City. Y'all see me right in the middle of his speech. So I get back in the show. My friends were like, I can't believe that just happened. I was like, oh no. And I saw the cameras. I was like, oh, what? I said, this won't last long. It'll be a short. I think there was 83 articles written on it online. And they were trying to figure out, the media was like, did he endorse him? So what does I like me some Trump mean? Because I didn't endorse it. Like, no one knows what that means. I'm like, so I'm starting to get texts. My cousin texted and said, did you just endorse Donald Trump? And I sent him back a picture with Trump behind me with his hands on my shoulders, and I'm at the mic, and I went, no, where would you get that idea? Then my wife texted, what did you just do? And I said, I'll call you later. It's a long story. So I was like, oh my gosh. So it was good. We said goodbye. So we go the next morning. We're taking an Uber car. So we're flying to Dallas. I got to do a speech. I get in the Uber car. I'm in the front seat. It's an older driver. And he says, he was real talkative. He said, what did you fellas do last night? And I said, we went to the state fair last night. And he said, oh, I did too. He said, I went to hear Donald Trump. And I said, did you? I said, you see the guy on stage, like halfway through, like, with the beard? He went, you know who that was? Willie Robertson from Dynasty. Right in my face. Don't say it. He said, yep, that's who it was, Willie Robertson. I said, sir, do you know who I am? He went, no. I said, I'm Willie from Duck Dynasty. And he went, you had a different bandana on. So we go, we fly to Dallas. We're laughing about all this out. I was like, what a crazy, deal that we did. We get in the next Uber car to take us to the event. This lady knew who I was. She started screaming the minute I got in the car. Oh my God! Oh my! So she's screaming. My phone rings. It says unknown number. There was a person that I know that does this a lot and thinks it's real funny. And so I was like, hey, guys, look who it is. And so I was like, what up? He said, Willie, Bobby Jindal here. And I went, oh no. I almost just threw the phone because I hadn't thought about Bobby seeing the whole Trump thing. And I'm like, what do I tell the guy? He's still in the race. I said, Governor, the lady's still like, oh my God. I'm like, just 1 second. I was like, Governor, how you doing? Hey, man. I said, how's that family doing down there in Louisiana? He's like, good. He said, yeah, I'm calling about the things you said with Donald Trump. I said, yeah. It was weird, man. He's like, he's crazy. I know, yeah, he is crazy. I said, Governor, I got on stage and he asked me did I love him. It was weird. And I just said, I like me some Trump, you know. So, anyway, what you got coming up? What's next on your list? And what I say was a crazy deal. Then my father backs Cruz.
That's right.
Backs Cruz without me knowing. I didn't know he was backing Cruz. I go to Mexico. Donald Trump Jr. is coming to my house on Friday. Cruz comes in Thursday while I'm out of town and Phil endorsing. So I get a call while I'm in Mexico. It's a cat talking. I know he's not within 1,000 miles of where I live. It's just like, I said, who is this? He said, it's Trump Jr. I said, he's from New York. So I said, just slow down, so I can understand. He said, yeah, your dad, I don't know if I'm coming, your dad, because of what your dad did. And I said, oh my God, what did my dad say now? I was like, what group did he offend now? And he's like, he says, no, it's this thing with Cruz. I said, what do you do with Cruz? He said, he endorsed him. I said, how does he endorse anyone? He doesn't have a phone, a computer. He lives on the end of a damn street. How does he get his message out? I said, let me handle it. Call Jace. Jace, what did your dad do? He said, oh, I knew it was going to be trouble. Cruz showed up, a bunch of TV cameras, shot a commercial. I was like, oh no, they shot a commercial. So I looked online and I see this commercial. And so at the end of the commercial, Phil goes, I'm voting for Cruz. We're all voting for Cruz. And I'm like, we're not all voting for Cruz. Speak for the family. I said, you can't do that. So I called Dad. I'm like, I'm fixing to chew Dad out. I call down there. Mom answers. Mom, where's Dad? Oh, he's out in the woods. I said, Mom, he just made a commercial about Cruz. I know. Did you see it? I said, yes. I said, the problem is at the end he says, we're all going to vote for Cruz. She said, no. He knows you like Trump. He wasn't talking about the boys. He was talking about all the Christians. I said, Mom, So Cruz went away. Phil came on board. We're all on board, and now he's the president. So.